This high-speed rail project that's been talked about now, I mean, it's been talked about forever. But it picked up a little steam, of course, a couple of months ago when it looked like it would be going ahead. Federal government was involved. There was a big press conference. Great thing for Canada. Let's beat high-speed rail. Let's rather build high-speed rail, just like they have in so many places around the world. France, Japan, Spain, right? They do a nice job of it. Everyone loves it. Why can't we have nice things in Canada? I don't know. Well, I say this because I thought this seemed to me at the time like a bit of a gimme, right? Yes, it's going to cost a lot of money, but, it is the kind of thing that puts Montreal back on a global map. High-speed rail, as I said, exists in many parts around the world. It should be a gimme. It turns out it's not. First of all, Pierre Poilievre weighed in on this day, the leader of the Conservative Party, when he said this.
The people don't support this $90 billion Alto monstrosity. Go around to the communities. I would encourage you to go knock on the doors in Peterborough and ask them, are you prepared to pay $8,000 in taxes just to build the project and then pay higher taxes every year forever to subsidize its permanent annual losses? The answer is no. Canadians across this country can find a better way to spend $8,000. And it's time for us to put an end to these costly pie-in-the-sky liberal schemes.
So that's Pierre Poilievre. You know how he feels. Frankly, I don't understand how high-speed rail is pie in the sky. We're not talking about flying saucers here, but that's his opinion. And then today, all of a sudden, Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet decided to speak up about this. Maybe to try to win some points, I guess, in Terrebonne, where there is a by-election coming up, suggesting this would not be good for them. I don't know. Here's what he said.
Le PDG admet candidement ne pas être capable de donner d'évaluation des coûts du projet. Comment voulez-vous qu'on dise aux gens ou que nous-mêmes, on s'astreigne à soutenir un projet sur lequel il n'y a pas de chiffre? Là, on a entendu 88 milliards. 88 milliards, ça veut dire au-dessus de 100. McGill a fait une étude qui dit, écoutez, ça semble très optimiste, notamment en termes d'achalandage. On ne peut pas dire go à un projet qui n'a pas de prix accroché sur l'étiquette.
As if that ever mattered in Quebec. Saying, we can't go ahead with a project like this if we don't know how much it's going to cost, 80, 90 billion. I think that's Pierre Poilievre said, right? I will point out, by the way, and I keep referencing these other countries that have these things, they cost a lot more money to do now. We should have done this 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. We didn't. So does that mean we never will? And in these other countries, by the way, they have managed to turn these systems into profit makers for the most part. So it's not as if we're going to be paying. This is not the Olympic Stadium in 1976. Paul Langan is founder of the advocacy group High Speed Rail Canada. He is on the line. Paul, I know we've spoken about this before. I was a lot more optimistic then than I am now, hearing suddenly people speaking out about this. So give me your reaction to what you're hearing.
Well, there's the two sides. So Mr. Poilievre first, where he whips up the $90 billion, and it's not $90 billion. And then he did the Peterborough doesn't want it, and the mayor of Peterborough came out strong again today saying they do want it. So that just gives you a little taste of Mr. Poilievre saying one thing, but the reality is different. And then just the same press conference, he was telling Carney hasn't done one big infrastructure project yet. And then 2 minutes later he says, and we're canceling this infrastructure project. So, that's the kind of guy we're dealing with on that side. And the last point on him is, he's only going to support infrastructure projects that make money. So I guess the defense money's gone. I guess any money for hospitals or transit's gone. So that's where he's at. Really doesn't understand the issue at all, but he's trying to win votes. He's desperate. He's sliding down the old poles of reality. Mr. Blanchet's a little different. And, I think they're caution, and I'm all about that too. We have to be auditing this project every day as it goes on internally to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. And the process now that the government's put in place to acquire the land, we got to ensure the fair compensation. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And there is a way for the homeowner and the landowner, I should say, to fight the compensation if they don't feel it's adequate.
So is that the issue now? It's expropriation. We want to make sure that's done fairly. I mean, I thought that was a gimme. We do that anyway, right? No one's being kicked out of their house or their land. It's a matter of negotiating these deals so everyone's happy.
Yeah, and that's what's changed. They did have a bill that was passed where, because these projects, one of the number one reasons they balloon and get out of control is people file a complaint they want to have a public hearing objecting to their land, and that could go on for years, and then the cost of the project goes up for years. So what they've done now, the Liberals, they passed the rule that says, a law, that the minister makes the decision without a hearing. So you can still object, but instead of going through a 1 or 2 year, process, and everybody goes through these processes, it's going to be shortened, and the minister can do a written response. That's the reason they did it, so the project doesn't balloon in cost. So the solution for the landowner is right now to get involved in where the route's going to go, rather than the old days where they all would go and object and say, here's where the route should go.
All right, look, again, as I said, when this project first came up, I think we got pretty excited about it because, as I said, we've been talking about this for years and years and years. And, of course, the longer we waited to do it, the more expensive it's going to be because that's how things work. But, I'm just reading a text now from someone listening to us saying, you know what, the problem, he says, I was originally pro high-speed rail, right, but now that the details are starting to emerge, right, the land seizure, the fact it's going to be on a level track instead of race, so it cuts off communities. What's the answer to that? This person seems to know a little bit about it. I mean, is that a concern here?
Yeah, and I think what happened, and I thought it was a good thing at the beginning, is Alto came out really early before anything was decided and said, here's a swath of land we're thinking of running it at. What do you think? And then people just went crazy because that was this giant swath of land, and they didn't have any of the route mapped up because they wanted people's opinion at first. Well, that kind of backfired on them because people saw this and said, well, what's going on? I think maybe they should have waited to come out for consultation a little further along when they had it narrowed down, so it doesn't look like I said, these large swaths are being taken over, and what's the route going to exactly do? But I mean, these people that object, quite frankly, and honestly, that text is a good example. They don't know. They haven't been to other countries. They don't see how this is how people move from A to B every day. And these concerns they have, which it's because we're 50 years behind. I understand that why these concerns coming from. We're used to via rail, behind CN, 2 hours late, going slow. If they went to Germany, where they have level, or Spain, or Italy, and rode these trains and see everyday people riding them every day, yes, we can move from A to B, they would understand. But a lot of this comes from, I don't know. Even one of the leaders said it's like futuristic. Well, Paul, you have said about that. They just don't understand that, yes, once it's done, it's how we move people from A to B. Yes, there's safeguards in place, way more safeguards in place for safety than there are now with Via Rail, way more.
I want to ask one other thing which comes up, then, and I wasn't aware of this either, is the idea of this train that's going to go Montreal to Toronto or eventually maybe to London, I guess. I don't remember what the original plan was. Are there no stops along the way? This is just like a bullet from one city to the next?
Yeah, I mean, the more you stop, the less of a bullet it is, so to say. So they have announced the stops and where it's going to stop already. Not Toronto. Toronto West was just added on lately from the mayor's pushing Carney. But yeah, the stops are already decided, and that's kind of part of the public saying, well, we don't even want it up Peterborough way. We want it the way the trains are now in Kingston and, along that route. But the little technicality with that is that's where the freight trains are. But, the more you stop, the slower the train is. So the idea is you have less stops so the train can go faster. And that, if you're not along that, but that, you're right. You're 100% right. People get upset about that because it doesn't benefit them. I hear that all the time when with the high-speed rail, as they go, well, it's only going to benefit the people in Toronto, the people in Ottawa, people in Montreal. And what I always like to say to people, well, geez, I got sick once. I'm sure happy that hospital in Toronto said, you don't live here, but we'll take care of you. You know what I mean? It's for the public good. You do things for the public good.
I will point out, we're going to have to wrap up in a sec. I
Sure.
talked, as you just did, about the fact that other countries, if you've traveled, you've been on these trains, whether they be in Japan or Germany, wherever else. One of the issues being raised right now is, this is going to cost us forever. They're not profitable. From what I read, and you could give me a better idea here, those systems seem to me, for the most part, to actually make money, do they not?
Well, they make money in the sense on the long-term benefits of them, 100%. You're not adding 5 more lanes on the highway or 20 more lanes on the highway. I mean, the cost also goes into the quality of life costs. If, like I say, if you just, I go to Spain literally every couple of years to ride them just for my own peace of mind, so I know I'm not crazy, because then you see this is the way the world does do it. And again, we're just in a cultural abyss in Canada, and it's hard to get us out of it.
What happens going forward here? I mean, is this a matter of people who wanted reaching out, or what are we going to hear more as to how this progress or the actual plan progresses?
Well, you know as well as me that negative gets the media's attention. So Poilievre and Blanchet are just jumping on the bandwagon to try to win some seats in the future, right? And the public has concerns, and that's 100% correct. They should be addressing them, saying, here's, I think, where the route should go. Here's why the route should go there. They have not decided the route yet, finally, right? So they should be putting in a progressive, positive way. Here's where I think it shall go. Here's why I should go. And you know what? You can't say things won't change, because Carney did announce they're looking from Toronto to Windsor because of political pressure. So if enough people along the way, whether it's Quebec and Ontario, want a certain route, they should be pushing for it right now. It should be positive, not negative.
All right, we leave it at that. Mr. Langan, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Oh, Aaron, you're great. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Paul Langan, so in support clearly of this high-speed rail. And as I said, maybe you need more details on a project like this, but as he said as well, we're 50 years behind when it comes to these high-speed trains. How is it that we're now going to look at this and say, yeah, no, I don't think we should do this?
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.